Welcome to today's podcast, where I invite you to settle in, relax, and take a closer look at how your financial situation might be better than you think. I understand that money can feel like a never-ending source of stress. You glance around, see your neighbors driving sleek cars, watch friends post pictures of expensive vacations, and wonder if you are falling behind. You might even catch yourself repeatedly asking, am I the only one dealing with money worries? If that rings true, take a breath. You could be ahead of the pack in more ways than you realize. Let's begin by exploring a common misconception about money. It's easy to assume we're all average or even behind everyone else because the people around us appear to have everything together. From designer clothes to trendy restaurants, it can seem as though everyone else is living lavishly while you are left to figure out how to pay monthly bills without feeling the sting. However, if you look behind the curtain, you'll discover that a great many people are not as financially secure as they appear. Fancy cars might be financed well past their actual worth. Big homes might be saddled with enormous mortgages, and expensive shopping sprees might be funded by hefty credit card balances. The outward impression of prosperity can be just that, an impression, and not always an accurate reflection of stable or growing wealth. The realization that more people than we think live paycheck to paycheck can bring relief. If your savings account has a little set aside for a rainy day, you're already outperforming many folks. That might be hard to believe, but it speaks to one of the main lessons of our discussion. Building a safety net is often a better indication of financial well-being than the kind of car in the driveway or the latest photo on social media. The idea is to have a cushion for unexpected challenges. Life has a way of surprising us with medical bills, car repairs, or home maintenance problems. If you have something, however small, set aside to handle those emergencies, you are already on stronger ground than countless others. Even so, thinking of emergencies and long-term goals at the same time can be stressful after all. How can someone focus on building a nest egg for retirement when unexpected expenses pop up left and right? The good news is that every little step forward counts. If you regularly save and invest, even if it's just a modest portion of what you earn, you can breathe easier, knowing you're securing the needs of your future self. There is comfort in recognizing that the person you will be in later years, who still needs a roof overhead, groceries on the table, and a sense of stability, will thank you for the actions you take today. Saving and investing do not have to be enormous leaps. They simply have to be consistent enough to keep you growing over time. The first major insight to keep in mind is how many individuals lack even a modest cushion for emergencies. When we think of living in one of the richest countries in the world, it's easy to assume that nearly everyone can handle something as simple as a minor car repair or an urgent medical bill. However, many people struggle to cover an unexpected cost that is not part of their monthly budget. If you find yourself with funds set aside, or you are actively working on creating that little emergency stash, you can rest assured that you're already rising above the norm. It's not about perfection, it's about being prepared for life's bumps and potholes. The second major insight revolves around retirement savings. Far too many people have not even started preparing for those later years. Perhaps they feel their current budget is too tight. Perhaps they're counting on a pension or a government benefit in the future. Or maybe they've become convinced they'll figure it out someday. But someday often arrives faster than expected, and it can be unsettling to realize that several decades have slipped by without any plan in place. The encouraging message is that anything you are able to put aside, whether that's a small fraction of your earnings or a more robust chunk, means you are doing more than plenty of others. It's a testament to your foresight. You recognize that the older you will be grateful for the choices you make right now. This idea of taking care of the older you is a powerful motivator. Imagine the person you will be years from now. That person may want to travel, may need to take care of health-related expenses, or may simply want to enjoy a comfortable lifestyle, free of heavy financial strain. By contributing a portion of your income toward investments, retirement accounts, or other forward-looking funds, you are essentially giving the future you the gift of comfort and dignity. Consider it a form of self-care. Instead of pampering yourself with something fleeting, you are pampering your future self with security. That mental shift from living only for the present to saving for the future can transform your outlook on money. Another important insight is that many people never sit down to create a structured budget or plan. You might have heard friends say, budgeting is overwhelming, or I just keep track of my bills in my head. The truth is that making a plan, whether on paper or a spreadsheet, is like turning the lights on in a dark room. Without it, you're feeling your way blindly, hoping that you're not tripping over hidden obstacles. A written plan allows you to see where your money goes, to set priorities, and to spot any leaks in your financial ship. The irony is that many believe a budget will feel restrictive, but in reality it can lead to freedom. Knowing exactly where your funds are allocated each month can reduce anxiety and even result in finding some unexpected savings. By managing your income strategically, whether that means limiting certain expenses or directing more toward your future, you can take back control, calm your mind, and stop constantly guessing if you are financially stable. Think of your household the way you would a small business. If you ran a shop or a cafe, you would want a clear picture of your daily and monthly revenue, along with an itemized list of operating costs, inventory expenses, and upcoming obligations. Without that structure, confusion would reign, and the business could fail. The same concept applies to personal finances. Each paycheck represents revenue, and each expense, rent or mortgage, groceries, transportation, medical costs, represents your operating budget. Treating your household like a small enterprise can be enlightening, even if you have a modest income. Systematically tracking what comes in and what goes out can transform the way you handle money. The final major insight centers on credit cards and how frequently people rely on them to fund everyday life. It may be startling to discover that nearly half of all individuals use credit cards for essential monthly bills. There are multiple reasons for this reliance, ranging from convenience to perceived rewards. However, constantly leaning on plastic for basic expenses can lead to escalating balances. If, for example, you find yourself carrying a sizable amount of debt, interest charges can chip away at your ability to save or invest. creating a cycle of dependency that's tough to break. Even more disheartening is how easy it is to overspend when you can simply swipe a card. Using cash can cause a twinge of ouch when it leaves your hand, but plastic often lacks that tangible sense of loss. This subtle distinction in spending can accumulate over time, leading to hefty balances that might become overwhelming. Some folks manage credit cards very responsibly, paying off the balance in full each month and harnessing rewards to their advantage. Others, however, fall into the habit of making only minimal payments, allowing interest charges to balloon. If that situation sounds familiar, it's not a reason to despair. Creating a plan to tackle debt, whether through allocating extra money each month toward the highest interest balances or finding ways to consolidate and reduce interest, is a positive step forward. Remember, the key is not to feel judged or ashamed. The path to resolving these challenges starts with recognizing them and committing to a plan. You can regain control by being mindful about your spending and focusing on paying off balances quickly whenever possible. At this point, you might be thinking, am I among the people who show signs of being above average? If you have some funds set aside for emergencies, if you are contributing regularly to any type of retirement or investment plan, if you keep a monthly or weekly budget, or if you use credit cards without letting the balances linger, you may well be in better shape than you realize. Being above average does not have to mean having an enormous salary or owning multiple properties. It can simply mean that you're taking deliberate steps to secure your financial future, steps that many others haven't yet embraced. It's important to mention that none of these points are about making you feel smug or superior. Instead, they serve to encourage you to maintain your good habits, or if you feel you've fallen behind, to pick up one or two new techniques and start applying them. Knowing that emergencies happen, that retirement will come, that budgeting matters, and that credit card use can be a slippery slope should empower you to act. The best part is that most of these strategies don't require a degree in finance or complex spreadsheets. Consistency is the name of the game. If you do find yourself reflected in any of the scenarios that might be considered less secure, such as lacking a savings cushion or depending heavily on credit, don't lose heart. So, remember that any improvement starts with acknowledging the issue. Think of it as looking directly at your financial situation and saying, yes, this is my reality and I'm going to change it. It might be uncomfortable at first, just as you might avoid stepping on the scale when you suspect you've gained weight. You might avoid looking at a credit card statement when you suspect the balance is high. But shining a light on these realities is the first step to setting goals and making headway. Here's one more piece of encouragement that might ease your mind. You do not have to do everything overnight. Building an emergency fund, setting up a retirement account, drafting a budget, and managing credit responsibly can all be done progressively. Even small, consistent changes will add up. Each time you commit to an amount to put away for emergencies or reduce a monthly expense to free up cash for savings, you're creating a ripple effect of positive change in your life. Each incremental achievement is a signal to yourself that this is working, that you are growing more financially resilient, and that no matter how modest your salary might be, you are learning the tools for lasting stability. Before we sign off, let's revisit the central idea. You might be doing better than you think. By comparing yourself to only the surface appearance of others, what you see on social media or around your neighborhood, you could be setting yourself up for undue worry. Beneath the glossy exterior, people may be drowning in debt, living in financial chaos, or on the brink of an emergency that they have no capacity to handle. If you're trying your best, staying disciplined with your budget, looking out for your future by saving even a little, and being conscious about credit usage, then you are well on your way to financial peace. Ultimately, the best person to take care of the future you remains the present you. Thank you for tuning into this conversation. Hopefully you're leaving with not just a better understanding of where you stand financially, but also a renewed sense of optimism and determination. Let's keep this dialogue going in our minds. Embrace the fact that you have the power to shape your financial well-being. Whether that means continuing the solid habits you already have or starting a new approach entirely, the journey begins and ends with you. The next time you feel like you're behind, remember that appearances can be deceiving, and the true measure of financial stability lies in preparation, discipline, and a forward-thinking mindset. I appreciate you spending this time with me, and I look forward to our next deep dive into making your financial life the best it can be.